Hey y'all, I wanted to come on live from my very own backyard. Um, I want to share a few things about self care with all of you and hoping that the sun doesn't completely take my eyes away from the screen. I want to talk to you about how important it is to have self care. And when I say self care, I wanted to talk about your self care, not the self care everybody else talks about, not the self care that everybody else expects you to get because is the buzzword of this year and last year, but the self care that you should get because the most important person to take care of is yourself. So I wanted to first define self care from the dictionary, if you will, because I don't want it to be just mine. It says that self care, the World Health Organization, defines self care as the ability of individuals, families, or communities to promote health, prevent disease, maintain health, and it's actually all I want to give me. No, let's see. I might be far from the house. Again, common examples of self care include maintaining a regular sleep routine, eating healthy, spending time in nature, doing a hobby you enjoy, and expressing gratitude. So, again, from the World Health Organization, is talking about self health as communities that promote health, prevent disease, and maintain health, but it includes doing things that you enjoy. Self care can look different for everyone, but to count as self care, the behavior should promote health and happiness for you. It should promote health and happiness for you. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. And it's actually kind of ironic that I might say that it doesn't matter what anyone else says about what you do for self care, because multiple sclerosis is an illness where nobody's matches anybody else's. So a lot of times you'll get those people, the train that's passing on the other road. But a lot of times you'll get those people who want to come in and say, "Oh, I have a cousin who has MS and she doesn't deal with that." That's fine. I'm great. I'm happy for her. But that doesn't mean I don't deal with it. So, as far as self care is concerned, someone else might come in and say, "Hey, you know what? Going to the movies isn't really self care for me. Why would I want to sit in a movie theater by myself?" Whereas Roxanne, me, I love to sit in a movie theater by myself because it's not as though I'm going to speak to someone when I'm in the theater anyway. So self care has to be about you and what you enjoy and what brings you happiness, what brings you joy. So I wanted to talk about some of my things and hopefully can give you some ideas on what you can bring into to be self-care for you. So let's start with number one because number one is my backdrop in my in the above drop, the sun for this live. My self-care is the outside. And let me tell you why. I am not an outdoors person. If I had it my way, I would just sit inside all of the time because it's not hot. There's no sun in my eye. Don't have to be out in dark glasses, which is what I usually wear, but cannot today because I have to be able to read the screen and I have to be able to read my screen where I take my notes. But when I started to go to therapy, which was about a year and a few months ago. The one thing that my therapist asked me to do right away was get outside. She wanted me to be able to get vitamin D from the sun, to get out of the four walls of the house, and to just take in nature, whether that be air for you or the birds singing, as you can hear, or sometimes it is just just feeling the wind come across your face or come across your skin. I did not realize how much I needed it because, like I said, I'm not an outdoors person. I'm someone who's like, hey, more power to you. No, I didn't go outside today, yesterday, or the past 5 days. And I used to be fine with that. But when my therapist told me one of the things I need to do was get outside, it actually ended up being one of the things I enjoy to do. It was part of my self care. I actually ended up coming outside yesterday morning. I brought my breakfast plate and I brought my phone, which I did not look at once. And I just sat here and listened and ate by myself outside. And I will admit, I enjoyed it greatly. Had the sun in my face. Again, I live in Charleston, South Carolina. There aren't many days where the sun is not out. But as I sit here right now, I'm feeling like, oh my goodness, it's right in my face. And I'm getting sweaty and things of that nature. That's not what this time is for right now. This time is for me to show you why it's part of my self care, why you might want to make it part of your self care, why sometimes you just need to take a moment of quiet to yourself outside with the sun rays in your face, because this is where we get vitamin D. And for those of us who have multiple sclerosis, we are lacking vitamin D. And one of the best ways to get it is from the sun. Unfortunately, it's not from being inside the house. The windows are or the blinds are up and you're getting the sun rays. You're not getting the same type of vitamin D that you need that way. You're in the car, the sun rays that way. Unfortunately, that's not the vitamin D you need. You need to get it directly from the sun rays. And believe me, I know because I've already looked it up. So, getting outside is one of those things that is self care for me because it literally is helping me health wise. Um, Another thing that I do for self care, and I'm sure you all do it probably every day, which is shower or bathe. But it's more than that for me because I make sure that I have anything I need to be something that smells wonderful, whether it's aromatherapy or a candle in the bathroom, anything that makes lots of suds. So you can probably tell I love Bath and Body Works. But when I get up in the morning, I get to decide, consciously decide, what is it that I want to smell today? What would just make me smile today? And I have several in there. I probably have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 10 different scents. And I get to pick every day, and it just makes me happy, brings me joy. Might not be the type of joy when I get to see my nieces and nephew, but it's a joy that I expect to have every day. I expect to be able to go in there and say, ooh, I really feel like choosing the orange ginger, which wakes me up in the morning. So make sure that all the self care that you choose is for you, not for anybody else. Doesn't matter what anybody else has to say about the self care that you choose for yourself. But make sure it's something that lets you know I'm caring for me. Something else that the therapist also told me to do, I've done it several times throughout the years. I may not keep up with it the best way I know how, or the best way other people may do, journaling. I absolutely love to journal because it's my way of getting my thoughts down, my emotions down, things that I may not say out loud to anyone else because other people really don't need to hear it. It's something that I need to process within me. And getting it down on paper is allowing me to actually make the connection that I am processing it, that I'm not just holding it in. And if you get one of those really cute journals and a pretty pen, a pen that you're going to pick up every day, I have the last pen I got was a sparkly pen. It has a lot of glitter on it. I got a rose gold pen from a friend, and the top comes off now, but it lasted forever. Love it. But it allows me to connect with myself and some of the emotions I'm having, emotions that I might not accept, that I might not be willing to admit to out loud. And journaling, whether it's a gratitude journal or just journaling about what you're feeling, is going to connect with you on the mental health side because you're able to process and get to know exactly what it is you're feeling. Plus, it is wonderful to look back on. I've looked back at some of my other journals, and I love to look back at the date because I just think, gosh, that was 14 years ago. I was going through that then, and I can compare what it says in that journal and where I am right now. Because we know that usually when we're in a situation, we're like, never going to get over this, or oh, it's just so bad. And if I'm completely transparent, I have struggled with suicidal tendencies in the past. And when I look back at some of the things that I struggled with and the fact that I'm still here and I might not be struggling with it anymore, but to consider how bad I thought it was, that I might want to not be here anymore, and to see that I got through it, tell me that that is not the best self-care, to look back and see how hard something was for you and then to later say I got through it. And if you've written down things, this is how I got through it. And this is how I could get through things later on. This is the prayer I said. This is how God was there for me. And it's not a struggle for me to look back at it and say, I don't get sad about those things because I count it all joy. I'm just like, you were there for me, God. You were there for me then, and I know you'll always be there for me. So I have said vitamin D from the sun rays, which it is warm out here. Wow. From the sun rays, my shower and bath and all the smell goods that I have from Bath and Body Works, journaling, and guys, I have to say exercise. I have, oh my gosh, I think I've been off of my game for probably at least 4 to 5 months. I don't exactly know why. I know some things, I struggled with some things emotionally, and I did not want to get back into the whole exercise routine. I but it's good for me because, like I just said, it's a routine. It's something that I look forward to. I love the results, and I hate to see what happens to me when I don't do it. It is the best thing to see the results from discipline and routine. And that just helps me so much. Oh, I see. Cheryl said that her husband's the main caregiver in her household. And hopefully, both of you are like doing self care for, I said self care for one another, but being the caregiver for each other in whatever way you can give him, Cheryl, and he's helping you with the things that he is doing for you. So exercise is a big thing for me. I have a friend who is very disciplined, and to hear him talk about exercise makes me want to exercise all of the time. Except I didn't. I got out of it. But again, I remember how it feels to be able to look in the mirror and see the inches lost or see something go down when I'm like, okay, my stomach's not too bad. It's getting better. Have to be able to keep up with those things. And the best thing about exercise is you can keep the routine and you can see the self-discipline in yourself. And I also added travel, which I talked about a lot for the past week to 2 weeks. And you guys already know, I think travel is wonderful to get out of town and get around the same surroundings. I also feel like you have to you have to be able to show yourself that you can still do things that you used to love to do. I think we get stuck in a rut and we're thinking that, okay, MS has done this to me, that to me, and it's so hard to do things. But until we go back out there and try, you'll never know what you can do. So exercise, travel, exercise, I can't do the same exact things. Travel, I can't do the same exact things. I can't walk the airport by myself. So I have somebody who wheels me around, but I'm able to go to other places on a plane. And last but not least, I want to say this: meds. Okay, see the phone's going down because I'm going to have this full on conversation with you all. Self care in your medicine. For multiple sclerosis, as far as the one that I take to push the progression back, I take Ty Sabri. I am consistent with it because if and only if they put a note in my chart and they call me and remind me, and I go all the time. But what about the medicines that we need to take daily? I know it is part of my self-care because I feel like myself, or I feel better when I'm on those medicines. Can I tell you a secret? I knew I was going out of town for whatever reason. I forgot to get my prescriptions filled. So I had to extend my medicines out. There's one that I'm supposed to take 3 times a day or 3 times in the morning. And I didn't have enough. So I kind of put it off so I can take 2 in the morning for 5 days. And then when I got back here, I was going to order it. I actually saw a difference in me. And this is medicine that helps me with my mental health and helps me to remain balanced. Otherwise, I go up and down, and it does not help me emotionally. It does not help me physically. It sounds like a woodpecker. So I was like, can I catch it? You have to make sure you keep up with your medicines, guys. And I realize that because it's been a long time since I've gotten off of something that I knew I was supposed to be on. And it made a difference with me. My attitude was different. And I kind of started to go down on myself because I was like, oh, I can't do this. I didn't remember to do that. And I was really hard on myself until I realized, hey, I haven't been taking those right. What's going on? And when I wasn't taking those right, I wasn't going to sleep at night, which meant I was ending up in more pain in the morning because I hadn't gotten the rest I was supposed to get. And everything seemed to be off. Talk about self care. Talk about self care. mentally, emotionally, physically, to keep your health in a state that you want it to be, so you can do everything that you want to do, and so you can be the way you want to be. I have been so good for so long that I specifically recognized something's wrong. I'm off. There's something that's different about me. And I realized it was the medicine. So you have to remember that self care is about your wholeness. It's the complete you. It's everything that makes you feel beautiful, things that make you just smile, things that make you feel healthy, and getting our vitamin D. Don't forget that you can get it through a pill. I know, vitamin every once in a while. More often than not, I'm kind of liking the vitamin D that I'm getting from the sun. So remember to go out. Hey, Laura, remember to go out, get your vitamin D, take care of yourself, and treat yourself well. Even if you have someone around who's doing a good job for you, like Cheryl, I'm so glad your husband is your caregiver. Remember, if you can make yourself feel good and that just kind of comes through you, they'll be even happier to be around you. And you'll be happier by the different rays of sunlight and happiness and positivity that you can give them as well. And we'll be back talking about self care. I think it's very important, but I really wanted to mention it today because this was the first time I stepped out. Like I said, Charleston's warm. It feels like it's warm always, but rolled up my sleeves, got in the sun, and just remember to step out and do something good for yourself. Okay. I will talk to you all soon. Hope you get in your self care for today. Bye.